What's going on, NMO fans, Fighting Game League fans, new Fighting Order fans? This is alexlexus coming at you with a solo video, which hasn't been done in a while. But life was ill, back pains, all that stuff. So I'm good to go. I was trying to get Nelson on Xbox Live to join in this little podcast, but anytime I do a solo, it's always a part one to a joint podcast. So here goes. Now, today's topic, we're talking about Halo 4 and Call of Duty Black Ops 2. Both phenomenal games in their own rights. And I just wanted to have some comparisons and just some of my views on a couple things, because there's some unfair comparisons being made between the two games that I wanted to shed some lights on. But first things first, Halo. Strength with Halo, I mean, those of us who've been playing Halo since Halo 1 will notice that the story is very enriching, very deep. And those of you who were able to read the integral books, where, the Marathon Saga that On Your Knees put me on, and a couple of the two other books, I didn't get to read them yet, but I know that the Halo universe is so vast. You can do so much with it. I think that's one of its strong suits, where the story is, if I think with enough backing, that can be like the next Star Wars. If if I'm stretching when I make this comment, but Halo is epic. It's galactic. It's huge. I mean, the UNSC and the space patrols and all that. I mean, the way that it was, the world was depicted by Bungie in his first tenure as the Halo developer, now moving on to 343 Studios, who has, I believe, some of the staff from Bungie moved on over to kind of preserve a sense of familiarity with the product. So overall, I think Halo, just by the story alone, holds a lot of weight, and I think that's really what got me back into first person shooters for the longest time, because I know I was playing Quake and Doom and Wolfenstein, but I wasn't really like a PC head game or first person shooter type until Halo and Demizzle actually put me on Halo, and actually put me on Xbox when it first came out. So the way that Halo was set up is like anybody can get up and just start playing it, whether you're hardcore or you're just playing for the story. So very smart with just the angle that they took. But getting more into the game itself, Halo, me, when I was in Iraq all of last year, my unit and I, we were big on Call of Duty. That's what we did to pass time. Either you went to the gym, you played Call of Duty in the MWR, or you're pretty much not in the in crowd. But I would say that Call of Duty, like leaving Halo and going into Call of Duty territory, I was having to make a lot of adjustments because of the controls. Because Halo had it where you had your melee on the B, whereas Call of Duty has the melee on the right stick. One thing that I did notice with Halo 4, just in general, there's a lot of influences from Call of Duty in Halo 4. And what I mean by this, like for instance, those of you who knows about kill streaks and perks and all that, you have what is this, ordnance drops. After X amount of kills, you get like a drop or whatever, or something like a stripped down care package system. And with that, that's pretty cool, because I said, damn, now it kind of brings a sense like I was freshly coming off of Black Ops 1 and Modern Warfare 3. Now I'm playing Halo. I'm like, man, these controls, ugh. It's not that they sucked. It's just that I was used to the Call of Duty setup. And one thing I did appreciate, if those of you who are Call of Duty fans that are kind of on the fence about playing Halo, if you pick the fish stick control setup, it will play exactly like Call of Duty. So you can just go to fish stick, bam, go, get your melee in the right stick. Everything is virtually the same. So you can get in there and play without having to do your brain switch. Okay, I'm playing this game, I got to play like this. So I highly encourage you Call of Duty fans to check out Halo because one of the major differences is Call of Duty is more like your run and gun, like it's quick, like tactical stuff, and like one or two shots you're dead. Whereas Halo, you got more like your shields, and that's the one thing that kind of pisses me off about Halo. If I shoot someone, you die. You know, Gears of War had this problem. Like Danae from Tough Nerd Toys, uh, LLC was talking about how a shotgun should kill somebody if they're up close, but not going into a rant. Now, with Halo, it's a lot of stuff influenced from the other popular games, from the ordnance drops to the loadouts. You can customize up to I think about 6 loadouts once you start unlocking them, and you can have different armor abilities from hovercraft devices to hologram, which I find very useful, especially in like a big team fight like Ragnarok. I'll throw out my hologram, and I see the enemies going and trying to shoot them, and then I go and I flank them. So it's pretty cool abilities, cool weapons. I'm loving the Promethean weapons, which are pretty much reskinned, UNSC weapons, but I guess some of them have different properties. Some, especially like the light rifles and the beam rifles, it looks pretty cool. But in terms of just the multiplayer is a little bit bigger than Call of Duty. And when I say this, if you're playing on maps like Ragnarok, you have more variety in terms of you can drive a Warthog, you got the Ghost, you have the Banshee, and if you do custom game types, you can do the Scorpion and the Wraiths and turn out into a full armada, like a straight out all out war. Whereas Call of Duty is more confined, closed, like when I was at basic training, or actually I was at training in Fort Eustis, Virginia, where we were doing tactical training with paintball guns, and it felt a lot like it was like, damn, Call of Duty, Call of Duty. You're in the Connex and you're peering around. It's a little more realistic to what we currently do in terms of training and practices, or operations overseas. So it's just, I would say not one game is better than the other. They just have different strengths, different emphasis. Now, Demizo made a good point where he said that if Call of Duty decided to go the route of incorporating big vehicles like Halo does, or like like for instance the Banshee, you're flying around like in a plane type craft. If Call of Duty were to do that, then they're crossing into Battlefield territory, and they would get crushed up against Battlefield. And I know my buddy in Queens, Oleg Vlasov, who I serve with overseas, would pretty much agree with me when I say this. So it's just something in terms of I don't think Halo is better than Call of Duty at this point. I don't think Call of Duty is better than Halo. It's all about preference at this point, because a lot of people right now are saying some stuff like, well, Call of Duty's outselling Halo 4. Duh, because Call of Duty's multi-platform. It's on it's on X360 and PS3, and whereas Halo is only on the Xbox. Now, if you're gonna make comparisons, I would say that Killzone versus Halo would be more fitting because they're both exclusives to their respective consoles. Like Call of Duty is a third-party game, jointly developed. Like, well, the Modern Warfare series is by Infinity Ward, and you have Tetrarch who makes the Black Ops series. So it's just like, okay, that franchise in itself will naturally sell more because there are more units moving out on two different systems. So I know that Modern Warfare 3 got its record shattered. Halo got its record shattered by Black Ops 2, and rightfully so. It's more accessible. So some people have to stop with the kitty nonsense and just look, okay, well, yeah, it's going to outsell Halo 4. Doesn't mean that it's better than Halo 4. Like I said, I will stand on my merit with that. But it's just that I like them both. But I want to know what you guys think. And during this time, let me pull up some. Well, you got Master Chief there. Yeah, it's just whatever you feel is best for you, then go for it. I would just say Call of Duty, one of its major strengths is faster, quicker, it's more intense. I mean, you're running around and you got blind turns and you don't know who's around the corner, whereas Halo, it's a little slower pace. It's more driven by, hey, you know what, link up, let's do this. Like Call of Duty, you don't even really need, and some people may not agree with me, you don't really need to communicate with people too much if you're just getting in there and playing, because I find myself leading like a team. I don't even speak to them and they just follow me, and then if I get shot at, they already know what to do. And whereas Halo, it's just different. Just like, for instance, this picture right here, just the environments of Halo it's so elaborate, so beautiful. I mean, it's just something where you can see the artistic integrity of the people creating that world, and it just takes you to another place. Whereas Call of Duty is just, it's home. We're here on the battlefront in Earth, doing the same thing. And for me, I won't say that I'm not too wild by it, because I love the new weapons in Call of Duty, like the target finder, view sight, which has been really helping me out big time, especially with you fucking snipers out there who fucking like to camp and shit, which has been eating you guys for breakfast. But it's just, weapons in Call of Duty, very very efficient, very useful. There's not a weapon that you can't like get in there and master. So I'm very happy with both games, but I'm hoping this does not trigger an issue where people are like, hey, Call of Duty fanboys, Halo fanboys. I do not want that whatsoever. I just want to know what you guys think, in terms of, differences, compare and contrast between the two games. So this has been alexlexus coming at you with just a mini short to, spark off the topics for the next podcast, which are usually on Thursdays. But as of late, the last couple of weeks, with overtime and a couple other things, I've been messing up the schedule. So please forgive me. Nelson Okami, Michael Hurdle, who is going to be streaming today, which is Sunday, November 25th. He usually streams Street Fighter or Salty Gamers after 5 p.m. So check out our Twitch TV, and I will see you on the next New Fighting Order, NMO TSG production, with executive producers Nelson Rios and myself. Make sure you subscribe. The more subscribers we get, the better off we are. We also want to thank you guys who, some of the NMO guys who went and supported our Twitch TV with Nelson, because now we're able to apply for the partnership. We keep those views consistent, bigger and better things will come. Trust me when I say this. So this has been alexlexus. I'll see you next time on our show. Peace.